Hi, my name is Mackenzie, and fun fact about me, I'm sick. So when I saw a brand new documentary featuring Tim Ballard pop up, I thought I was hallucinating. Surely someone who is being actively sued is not making a production talking about the lawsuit in detail. Surely not. I mean, I knew Tim Ballard was an egomaniac who loves hearing the sound of his own name so much, I assume he falls asleep to ASMR that sounds like this. Tim is the best. Tim Ballard is the only good person on this earth. Tim is Jesus's favorite boy. Tim is allowed to break commandments as a treat. But I thought at the very least a lawsuit would shut him up and we'd get, at bare minimum, a few years of blissful silence while he defends himself in court. But even I underestimated his ability to shut the up. I doubt his lawyers okayed this, and he and his wife Catherine admit in the documentary they have been muzzled. I'm not a lawyer, but even I know that whether you're guilty or innocent, if you're preparing to go to trial, you zip it. Stop talking. Wait until everything is over. But Tim is squeezing every drop he can out of what's left of his cult following to beg for money and attempt to repair his image. A few things you need to know about this documentary. One, it is part of a supposed docuseries, and this is just part 1. Although no release dates have been given for any upcoming parts, as I'm sure that Tim's lawyers are crying and rocking back and forth in a corner figuring out how to make it stop. So I don't know when those are coming out, but I'm sure they will be just as stupid as this one. The other thing you need to know is that it is mostly fluff-filled with cheesy music and imagery that is meant to sway your emotions. Look, here's an image of a crying child. Look, here's Tim being a good person. What's that over there? It's an image of a tank for some reason. It's a really good marketing tactic that is used by a lot of businesses, including Tim's former LDS church. They're hoping that if you can be distracted by the pretty sounds and the flashes of light, that it will override your critical thinking skills. And unfortunately, it worked for some people in the comment section. And at some points, it's just annoying and the music is louder than the person actually talking.
There wasn't ever a moment where we said, let's dedicate our lives to humanitarian causes. It just happened. You know, we never foresaw us taking on this role of being a big voice for human trafficking. That wasn't what we were setting out to do.
Don't listen to our flawed logic, listen to this piano. I watched the entire 34 minutes and 14 seconds several times over, and this could have easily been 10 minutes long if they cut out everything that has nothing to do with the lawsuit.
Imagine dedicating your life to the noblest cause, rescuing thousands of children from the clutches of evil, only to find yourself in a web of what seems to be unfounded accusations and outright lies.
Imagine claiming you've rescued thousands of children with absolutely no evidence of doing so. Where are they? Where are those kids? Where are all the bad guys you've put in prison? Pretty ironic to name this docuseries Unfounded when Tim Ballard and OUR are constantly making unfounded claims. I go over many of these claims in previous videos, and I suggest you go watch those if you are not familiar with the Tim Ballard case so far. And although OUR fired Tim last year as a result of these allegations, and they have since scrubbed him from their website and videos, I still don't trust them, and we will get into some other claims made against OUR later. But the way he operates seeps into the way that the nonprofit operates, in my opinion. But he claims that every penny they use in court is a penny taken away from a trafficked child.
The legal battle looms large, with mounting costs that threaten to bankrupt the family. Every dollar spent in courtrooms is a dollar taken away from their mission of rescue and rehabilitation. The potential financial ruin is not just a personal catastrophe for the Ballards. It's a direct hit to the heart of their life-saving operations.
So the first unfounded claim they make in this documentary is that they are on the verge of bankruptcy, and the money that they are spending on lawyers is taking away from money they could be using for their rescue efforts. In the comment section, the dude who uploaded this, who runs the YouTube channel Last Dispensation, says, in spite of rumors that say they have tons of money, they do not, and never did. Tim did not get paid to help promote Sound of Freedom, only got help with some travel expenses. Please help the Ballards pay their legal fees. Guys, they never had money. Don't look at their mansion that we filmed this in. Guys, they are destitute. Just look at Tim's poverty-stricken, malnourished face. My favorite comment under this is, you sure?
You sure about that?
Because he lives in a pretty nice home with a very fancy yard on a huge plot of land about a mile from me. You don't have a pool with a water slide, hot tub, pool house, very nice fire pit, and a basketball court with not a lot of money. Period. The claim that they not only currently don't have money, but they never did is provably false. They have 9 kids. Kids cost a lot of money. And not only was he making up to $14 million from his alleged charity scams, he was also giving Catherine a 6-figure-a-year salary for her Children Need Families organization. They are not poor, they just aren't ready to eat a slice of humble pie and downsize. To them, moving into a smaller rental is the equivalent of moving into a shelter, apparently. Also, a quick lookie on Catherine's Instagram shows us that just a month ago, her and Tim took a vacation together. Her caption says, "It was so nice to get away for a few days. I usually look forward to the new year, but this one has been a little hard to get up and face. It's a pretty big storm out there. I'm so grateful Tim and I have each other, blah, 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 something, something, Jesus." Girl, if you're gonna lie about being poor, at least destroy the evidence first. Guys, we're on the verge of bankruptcy, please. Anything you can donate helps feed my children. Anyways, isn't this view from our luxury suite hotel beautiful? Hashtag blessed. You not being able to keep up with your lavish lifestyle is not the same thing as being impoverished. And if you guys are really as well traveled as you say you are and have been to these impoverished countries, you would know that. Please do not give these losers money because they do not need it. Also, about the platform that they are raising money on, it's not like a normal GoFundMe where you can see the fundraising goal and how much they've already raised. It's like this stupid faith-based website called Give, Send, Go, where you have no idea how much they're asking for and no idea how much has been donated so far. It just shows you like a bar. That's the opposite of how you go about proving that you are completely financially transparent, by the way. You can also send a digital prayer to Tim, which gives me a great idea for a website where you can wish ill will upon other people. Send Tim Ballard one curse. But does that website already exist, and why is it Twitter? Finally, an excruciating 6 minutes and 23 seconds into the video, we get to their so-called evidence that exonerates Tim once and for all. Again, not sure why they chose to go to YouTube instead of waiting for the jury, but I've always wanted to do jury duty, so this is my chance, I guess. Their proof is Tim Ballard dressing up like Kid Rock and thinking he is fooling anybody into thinking he's not a fucking cop. People should be so pissed by this alone that their millions of dollars didn't go towards at least good hair and makeup, but a $20 wig from Party City. That alone should infuriate you. I went over in my last video extensively why the couples ruse is not used by the FBI or any other agencies to prevent child trafficking and how Tim Ballard made it up. But if you're interested, go watch my recent TikTok or my last video. Basically, the couples ruse is not a substantiated tactic. Tim was just horny, and these women suing Tim claim that they never saved a single child by pretending to be his lover. And now we know why, because Tim looked like that.
As an undercover couple, they could go into strip clubs, bars, dirty spas, and to places where child traffickers do business and block for each other, so neither would be expected to engage in sex with children or adult sex workers.
Again, I pointed this out in my last video, but it bears repeating. You don't need a fake wife to refuse to abuse a child. The entire point of a rescue operation is to get to the kid. If someone's like, okay, I believe that you're a predator, here's your victim, and you are not then rescuing said victim, but are instead saying, oh, sorry, I can't do that because my wife said no, you go ahead though? You're the worst rescuer in the entire world? There doesn't need to be blocking for each other because that's not how an undercover operation works. According to literally every other agency in the entire world, you're supposed to prevent abuse from happening, not watch it happen, you stupid, dumb idiot. But seeing as one of the producers of Sound of Freedom was caught on camera doing just that, abusing a victim, it makes sense that Tim got a little confused about what the end goal was of these so-called operations. For him, it was about kinky roleplay and a fetish for wigs that smell like chlorine. Then they pull the, hey, look at all these women Tim Ballard didn't abuse card, as if that means jack shit. Just because he did not abuse every woman he came into contact with doesn't mean that he didn't abuse other women. I hope that helps. Again, I feel like I'm in a courtroom, except I'm allowed to scream. And I did when I saw this next clip.
If you were being assaulted, why did you just keep going back?
Excellent work. You have cracked the case. If woman abused, why woman no leave? If woman being manipulated, why can't she see it? If woman no like it, why do it? Woman big slut? Woman big dirty lying skank face? This is the reason that victims do not report SA, because they are re-traumatized by stupid, ignorant questions in court to make them look like they are lying. But they never actually show her answer. She does answer this question, by the way, really well in another clip that they don't show. This is Celeste Boris, who was Tim's personal assistant and also participated with him in the couples ruse.
I also served as his personal therapist at all hours of the day and night. I had to be available 24/7 to give assurances to Tim of what a great guy he is to navigate his emotional meltdowns and his threat of suicide. On top of all this, I was also Tim's partner in the couples ruse. I joined Operation Underground Railroad to help save kids from sex trafficking. I wanted to make a difference and be the light in the darkness. I wanted to help fight the bad guys. Instead, I became an easy target for the worst guy of all. In saving kids and helping trafficking victims, I unknowingly became a victim myself. The very organization that claims to fight traffickers turned me over to the trafficker. No one did anything to protect me. I sacrificed time I can never get back from my family, my kids, and my husband. For my efforts and my sacrifice, I was left with a broken marriage, a broken spirit. As a special thank you, I was molested and sexually assaulted by Tim in 4 different states, 5 different countries, in the span of 10 months. Tim manipulated and abused and brainwashed me to a point where I didn't know left from right and right from wrong. We were always under some kind of spiritual attack, under immense danger, and everyone was always out to get us. Because we were exposing evil pedophiles. The truth is, the only evil I really saw was Tim Ballard and what he did to me. Looking back now, I know it was all an elaborate ploy just to justify Tim's wicked desires. I realize that some of you will say, why didn't you leave? Or why didn't you speak up sooner? The answer is I still don't know. The level of manipulation that Tim Ballard used is hard to comprehend. There are reasons victims stay with their abusers, and crimes of this nature go unreported, especially when the man in question is powerful, connected, worshipped, and protected by Utah's Attorney General. It wasn't until I was able to get away from Tim's grasp and influence that I realized who he really was. The pain of the trauma of what really happened to me didn't even really start to sink in until Tim's control over me subsided. I hope that coming out publicly can help ensure that no woman has to suffer at the hands of Tim Ballard ever again. It is humiliating to publicly admit that I have been so badly deceived. It is scary to face the potential public shame of what happened to me. I wish I wasn't in this position today, but I feel like this needs to be done so that Tim, as well as the individuals and organizations who enabled him, can be brought to justice for all the crimes he's committed and hurt the people he hurt.
So weird you didn't play that clip, Timmy. Telling someone who is manipulated that it is their fault for being manipulated and not the manipulator's fault for manipulating them is victim blaming 101. SA victims who are 90% female are always at fault for their own assault according to a patriarchal society. Always. And that is how the predators who are 90% male get away with it. This is why women don't come forward. Police officers and lawyers are shit at handling these cases. It's always, what did you do to get yourself assaulted? And not, why do men assault people? And then they completely misrepresent Catherine's hand in all of this.
Is it a coincidence she sued Catherine for sexual assault while providing no evidence of how she could have done anything like that?
The lawsuit states that Catherine is promoting a false narrative against the alleged victims, saying they're coming forward because Tim is a public figure.
Now you, Catherine Ballard, you are being personally sued by these women. And that was a surprise. I haven't met most of these women. It's not true. I don't even know these women. I didn't know any of them were ever operators, actually.
She talks about how surprised she was that she was being personally sued, and she's like, how is it possible that I SA'd these women when I've never met them? But that's not what the lawsuit is stating. She is not being sued for assaulting these women. She is being sued for sanctioning the couples ruse, claiming that Tim did it while being faithful to her. Therefore, she allowed her husband to continue the coercion that led to these assaults, if that makes sense. They're kind of accusing her of turning a blind eye, so to speak. They're not accusing accusing her of actually committing the SA itself. And I don't know if that's going to stick in court, but Catherine pulls a straw man and she's like, how is that possible? It's not possible because it's not what's happening. You dum-dum. Sorry, my patience for Catherine has ended. I know she is also a victim of Tim Ballard's, but I don't know how she can read those texts and listen to those stories and still think that they are making everything up. And I don't want to victim blame her either. She's just making it really hard for me to root for her right now. What's funny is that some defenders of Tim Ballard think he for sure cheated on his wife, but that it was consensual with these women, therefore they are lying. But that's not what Ballard is claiming. He's claiming nothing ever happened with these women, like past kissing or hand-holding. So if you're on that train of thought, you can't accuse them of lying without also still accusing Ballard of lying to his wife and the world. Okay, let's go back to him attacking these women's narratives. The narrator, who is female, which was a very smart tactic on Ballard's part because her soft and gentle tone makes him sound like he's not a disgusting pig. She says that one victim is lying because she used to rave about Tim and the couple's ruse and how great it was. She was just repeating what Tim had told her. Like the previous victim stated, they were heavily manipulated by Tim, and these were the things that he was telling them. If your boss is telling you that you're saving the world as part of a coping mechanism, you're going to repeat it. This whole email from one of the accusers looks like it was written by Tim Ballard, and this is how he talks, and he has said all these phrases verbatim. She's just parroting what he was telling her after allegedly assaulting her.
Only 2 weeks after writing this glowing endorsement of Ballard, she sued him for sexual assault. So, she is either lying in this well-thought-out email, or she is lying to the court. Either way, she is lying.
I wonder which one it was. I don't think she was lying at the time of writing that email. I think she just believed what Tim was telling her. I've mentioned this before in my Nick Sales video, how it's extremely common for victims to think that they are alone, even though most predators have more than one victim. So her coming forward once she heard the other women's stories is not unusual, and it can empower those who have been coerced and threatened into silence when they have support. Because the most powerful thing a person like Ballard can do is make the victim feel like they are alone. It's a grooming tactic. You make them feel special and you isolate them. That's why I continue to talk about these cases, because if it inspires even one victim to speak up, then that is worth it to me. We can't take back what these predators have done, but we can prevent more people from getting hurt. And these women have prevented more harm being done by Ballard, in my opinion.
2 of them didn't even make it on operations. They were cut for extremely inappropriate behavior. One of them was kicked out of a training by another person that I asked to kick him out because this person invited me to go up to her hotel room in a way that was extremely inappropriate.
After I flirted with her and told her she was sexy and hot and that we needed to practice being a couple alone, she invited me up to her hotel room. What a whore. Tim then complains of being exposed to dangerous traffickers because of this lawsuit. Timothy, you are the one who has been putting your face and name out there for years. What are you talking about? He's so worried about his undercover identity being exposed that he made a billion movies with his face and government name in it. It's like that meme, how could these women do this to me? The call is coming from inside the house, you stupid bitch.
But in the lawsuit, she takes these dirty things I'm saying and pins it on Tim, as if Tim is saying it. All these weird and crazy things that I'm being quoted as saying, that's my undercover persona, whether it's in a training text, or in undercover text messages. These are undercover conversations that have to be dirty. It's not me saying it.
Those dirty texts and those pictures I sent of my tiny, tiny penis, those saved lives. This is my favorite part of the video because it makes the least amount of sense to me and is so funny that he is doubling down on this. He claims the texts had to be dirty so that if the traffickers ripped his phone out of his hand, that they would read the dirty text he sent to his fake wife and be like, oh, this guy's legit. A few problems with this if you think about it for longer than 2 seconds. The email they showed from one of the accusers, the one that was praising the couple's ruse before, she said that they would preload burner phones. But we have 38 pages of text messages from Tim Ballard's personal cell phone, not his burner phone, between him and victim JJ. Why do they have to be dirty on your personal cell phone when you were using a burner phone while on these operations? Make that make fucking sense. And these texts have both sexy talk and also like classified information about the stings they're doing. So if Tim did happen to bring his personal phone with him instead of his burner and a real life trafficker were to grab it, it would completely blow his cover. There is no way that a judge is going to read these texts and think, yes, this is a normal standard procedure and not a total lie fabricated by Ballard so that his wife won't leave him. Your Honor, that wasn't me saying those things. That was my alter ego, Dirty Tim. I rest my case. It's like watching a toddler explain the game that they are playing and they're like, okay, I'm the bad guy and you're Batman. And they don't have any knowledge of what bad guy means other than surface level. Tim is like, look, I was playing a bad guy and I was doing bad things. Also, in a twist that everyone saw coming, Tim is grossly exaggerated and may have completely fabricated his work for the CIA in order to raise money for his charities. The lawsuit alleges that he was an unpaid intern who was fired after failing a polygraph. And we have Tim's own mouth hole saying, all the cool stuff I ever did was with HSI, Homeland Security Investigations. It wasn't operational stuff. It was an analyst officer position. It wasn't like hands-on. So your job was as an analyst? Asked Fox 13 News. Yeah, Ballard responded, I was an analyst. And even though he has since removed it, Tim's Twitter bio used to say former CIA and DHS undercover operator, except there's no such thing as a CSI undercover operator. You're either a case officer, an analyst, or a support staffer. And Tim Ballard told a retired CIA case officer that he worked for a year in the watch office, which he said is just answering phones and making coffee. Anyways, do you think that Tim is a pathological liar or a psychopath? Or does he have narcissistic personality disorder? Or a combination of all three? Therapists and psychologists, sound off in the comments below. Something is not right up here. Also, Suzanne Whitehead, who is one of the 9 plaintiffs who have filed suit against him and OUR, has these audio recordings that she secretly made while talking to someone else who was with OUR. His name is Damien, and basically OUR claimed that they rescued a kid that they did not.
Show the trapped at all. She wasn't a victim.
She wasn't trapped. Yeah, she wasn't. I know that.
Tim has to know this is going on. He's your director. He's in charge. I know he knows that he's lying, and I know he knows that he's like making it seem you guys are rescuing people you're not.
I can sit here and give you my grievances about OUR all day long. I was quite open about it with OUR. I said I'm embarrassed to go back. We've been to Nepal 3 times now. We haven't done anything.
Apparently, he had a lot of complaints about OUR's operations and threatened to quit, and he never did. I think that they're trying to get these recordings thrown out, if I'm not mistaken, but they're out there, so good luck with that. In my opinion, Tim is a con artist who has consistently lied throughout his life to get what he wants, for money, power, and sex. And like I talked about in my last video, we are seeing in real time what would have happened to Joseph Smith if the internet existed back then. Oh, those text messages would have been ripe. Except instead of saying, Your Honor, I was undercover, Joseph would say, I didn't want to send that dirty text. An angel with the flaming sword made me send that text. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, go ahead and subscribe. If you didn't, go ahead and subscribe. I got a new microphone I really like. Let me know if you want more ASMR. I don't know if I'll be making more videos if the docuseries comes out with more parts. I can't imagine what else he has to say about the situation. Again, it's not a smart idea to be talking about an active lawsuit against you. Tim's brain is the size of his pee-pee. I've talked about his pee-pee way too much in this video. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Bye.